Mambing tongan.
Saya sudah ke distract dengan bahasa Toraja dengan bahasa Batak, Pak.
Toraja ini punya nama besar dengan kopi. Sekarang untuk minum pun saja juga dari rantai bawah.
Syahwat sekarang.
Sebentar ini.
Ketika semuanya orang main di hilir, siapa yang di hulu? Wah, capek.
Dan bibit ini yang diambil oleh teman-teman di Toraja.
Iya.
Saya Budiarto ingin membuat kopi kampung saya.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi, Bapak Ibu semua. Minasama ohayo gozaimasu. First of all, my name is Sylvia from Copy, and I will be the master of ceremony today. Warm welcome to you all to the Business Forum, the Good Insight 25 from Indonesia to Japan for the world. So today's Copy, the Indonesian Coffee Education and Development Conference aims to build the bridges between Indonesian producers, global markets, especially in Japan, and the broader Asia-Pacific region. This event is held on site in Pavilion, Indonesia, also online by YouTube live streaming and Zoom. I would like to greet our special guests and also speakers. First of all, Bapak Dodi Sambodo Kusumo Negoro from Consular for Economy of the Republic Indonesia in Japan. I would like to greet Miss Judith Ganes, the Fountains Consulting. And then also I would like to greet from Yayasan Pendidikan Pengembangan Perkopian Indonesia to greet Mr. Masataka Nakano as Director of Key Coffee. Besides that, I also would like to greet Bapak Surip Mawardi, expert consultant from Kapi, and Bapak Mulyono Susilo as our Chief of Quality and Industry IT. And last but not least, I would like to greet our Head of Kapi, Robi Wibisono. Now, we are going to hear the welcoming speeches. First of all, which is Bapak Robi Wibisono. So we would like to please come forward, and the stage is yours.
Thank you for joining us at the Indonesian Coffee Business Forum. I'm our distinguished guest, Bapak Dodi Sambodo Kusumo, Counselor of KJRI.
皆さんおはようございます。インドネシアコーヒーのビジネスフォーラムにご参加いただきありがとうございます。ご来賓の皆様を心より歓迎いたします。インドネシア領事館の公式参事官のドスモンドゴロです。
Miss Judith Ganes, Consulting.
J Ganes コンサルの社長の
Bapak Adi Haryono from Yayasan Pengembangan Perkopian Indonesia.
インドネシアコーヒー研究会の
Mr. Masataka Nakano Coffee.
キーコーヒー株式会社の社長の佐高中野。
Bapak Surip Mawardi, Yayasan Pendidikan Pengembangan Perkopi Indonesia.
コーヒー研究会のスリップ回り様。
Bapak Coffee Industry Expert and Chairman of Specialty Coffee.
大木社長の森尾の寿司郎様。
Today, a new light of Indonesia coffee development, industry and insight of the coffee, where Indonesia coffee role made of geopolitics and economy. As a foundation, KAPI focus capacity building and ensuring standard compliance. Coffee is globally competitive and more recognized as together. We're not just shaping the future of Indonesian coffee for the world.
本日のインドネシアと日本の結びつきが強まっていること重要な象徴であり、インドネシアコーヒーの将来のりある議論と協力ができることを意味にしております。
Let me share some real example how KAPI is turning knowledge into a. We have a coffee farm competition, coffee to book barista competition, coffee seminar, and focus group discussion. We also believe in the future of Indonesia coffee, bring the next generation of farmers. We are focused on boosting coffee of farmers across Indonesia. Our goal is to help them to unlock the full their farm using proven technique and lead to the 10 yield. To begin the special occasion, please allow me to share a video that captures the spirit of Indonesia coffee and the journey we about the embark.
Kopi lebih. Ia adalah perjalanan panjang penuh cita, ketekunan. Ada tangan-tangan yang bekerja dengan hati, ada kerja keras penuh harap pada masa depan yang lebih baik. KAPI sebagai Yayasan Pendidikan Pengembangan Perkopian hadir sebagai ruang tumbuh petani untuk kopi dan untuk Indonesia. Melalui edukasi, riset, kami merawat akar yang tumbuh memiliki nilai. Kopi kurang lebih dari sekedar nikmat di lidah, tetapi menyuarakan semangat ke panggung dunia. Hadir di World EXPO, KAPI membawa secangkir cerita Indonesia untuk dunia. KAPI percaya, kopi terbaik adalah kopi yang bukan. KAPI, Coffee People.
Thank you so much, Bapak Robi, for that was very insightful and also very introduction for the about copy. So we are going to have Bapak Dodi give us an opening remark. So, Pak Dodi, you are welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. Please allow me the remarks in English, and later on and translate it into Japanese together with others. Distinguished guests, distinguished speakers, allow me to acknowledge the presence of Ibu Mary Handayani through online in Tokyo. She's the trade attaché at the Tokyo. Mr. Didit Ahyat Suryo, the Indonesian Trade Promotion Center, ITPC Osaka, also following through online. Bapak Robi Wibison, the representative of the Indonesian Coffee Education and Development Foundation. Bapak Surip, expert consultant of CAPI. Ms. Judith Ganes, and market strategist, founder of J. Ganes Consulting. Right? Thank you. Bapak Masat, selamat datang. The director and CEO of Key Coffee, and all respected participants, distinguished guests, ladies, good morning, ohayo gozaimasu. It is an honor and a to welcome all of you to today's business forum, Market Insight 2025, from Indonesia to Japan. My name is Dodi, and I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the Consul of the Republic of Indonesia in Osaka, Mr. John Cahyan, who sends his warmest regards and full support for the initiative. We also will extend our sincere thanks, gratitude to our distinguished speaker for later on Global Market Insights, Mr. for later sharing valuable perspectives from one company. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, well, I'm also a coffee consumer here, so I hope you all have a good morning. And before I come here, this is what I have. I have the copy, so it's usually not work very well. So, but my point is actually rooted a part of the culture in Indonesia. So please allow me, before we begin today's insightful discussion, to briefly highlight Indonesia's long-standing relationship with coffee. We can also learn about more coffee with Ibu Judith, with Ms. Judith. But for now, the journey of coffee in Indonesia is actually like 17th century, during the era of the Dutch Company, or VOC. To be precise, it was back in 1690 under the commander of Adrian van Omen. At the time, Indonesia was known as the Silence, as we produce lots of spice. However, as the spice trade increasingly competitive, the VOC sought alternative commodities, and coffee was one of them. Coffee were brought from Yemen and successfully cultivated on the island, marking the beginning of Indonesia's deep-rooted. By the early 18th century, Indonesia emerged as one of the world's first non-Arab producers and exporters. Java coffee sought after commodity in European markets, giving rise to the term a cup of Java, the nickname still used today. So if you see Java House, it doesn't mean Indonesian restaurants, they sell coffee. Coffee plantations soon spread to other parts of the archipelago, including the islands of Sumatra, Sulawesi, Bali, Flores, and later Papua, introducing a variety and flavor profiles unique to each region. So in Indonesia, we have 1,000 groups with 714 different languages, which is different customs. However, everybody drinking coffee, and it's part of the country. Coffee also unite the country. Diversity and one of them through coffee. So, the coffee from Sumatra, like Mandailing coffee, then Toraja coffee from Sulawesi, that is well known in Japan, right, Mr. Nak? And then along also times with coffee, one of unique and expansive coffee actually has a bittersweet history of our nation. Indonesian coffee has a long run up across the ages, a country rich in nature and culture. Then coffee became an integral part of Indonesia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today's forum presents a valuable opportunity to gather key players from global coffee ecosystem and exporters to market strategists and private sector leaders to share and build partnerships that will shape the future of Indonesia. As one of the world's top coffee producing countries, Indonesia is a significant role in supplying the world with diverse, high-quality beans. And the story of Indonesian coffee is not about and taste, but also innovation, sustainability. Japan has been one of our markets, and we see today's forum as a platform for this long-standing relationship. Distinguished guests, it is our hope that this forum will recruit follow-up action, including collaborative projects, maybe new business links, positioning of Indonesian coffee in the Japanese market and beyond. Once again, thank you very much for your participation. I wish you all productive and inspiring session. Terima kasih, arigatou gozaimashita.
Terima kasih banyak. Thank you so much for the valuable speech from Bapak Dodi. That was very valuable. Just to announce that we will have our Japanese interpreter that will all the summarize for the presentation before the panel discussions begin.
会議について誠にありがとうございました。日本語のツは、ビジネスのフォーラムの最後まで、後にしております。はい。
Forward to the next presentation that we will have. Now I am welcoming Bapak a presentation about the fostering innovation at small for sustainable, high quality and consistency coffee supply from Indonesia. If you are welcome to the stage, thank you.
Very good morning. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, particularly Bapak Jenderal, Ibu Judith Ganes, others. First of all, I would like to thank for inviting me to representative this very good opportunity to share knowledge and also experiences in the fascinating city of Osaka. Today is my 44th years, my journey with coffee in Indonesia, also around the world. Yeah. I expect share little thing about coffee with the title Innovation at Smallholding Farmers Guide to enable high quality and healthy coffee supply from Indonesia. So Indonesia is one of the biggest countries at the moment, maybe in the 4th rank. Yeah. After Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia. Yeah. Indonesia is almost the same, depending on the climate. Sometimes Colombia up, then Indonesia is better than Colombia. Yeah. But, sorry. Why? Okay, so maybe the difference is this one. This is a unique country because we produce 4 species. Yeah. Firstly, we produce Robusta. Robusta is the main crop in Indonesia. The second is Arabica. Then also produce coffee. Liberian coffee is unique coffee. Yeah. Mainly produced in the tidal swarm in the eastern coastal of Sumatra. The taste of Liberica coffee is in big Arabica and Robusta. Yeah. Then we also produce Excelsa coffee. Actually produced mainly in East Java. The taste are almost similar to Robusta. Yeah. And the price of Liberica coffee, the price is in between Arabica and Robusta. Very, how do you call, florally and also sweet, and some followed by something like winey taste. Yeah. And Liberica is maybe our future coffee because the coffee can be grown, yeah, and a little bit salty land. Yeah. So very good adaptation on the coastal area. So we can develop the coffee, yeah, alongside the coastal area, mainly in Sumatra and in Kalimantan. Yeah. In relation with the climate change, we have no problem with Liberica coffee because we can grow coffee in area. Yeah. Very good opportunity for farming here. Yeah. And talking about the area, according to the government statistic, we have only 1.2 million hectare land, coffee land, I mean. Then with the total 150 thousand ton, with the about 800, mostly 800 kg per acre. Yeah. Okay. We have something like a paradox in our coffee industry, mainly in the upstream. Yeah. We are talking especially on the upstream, in the farm gate. The first one is national activity and is very low during 2 decades. So almost steady. Yeah. No change significantly on productivity. It is problem. Yeah. But the domestic consumption increased significantly and very dynamic, mainly in the coffee shop. Now coffee shop grows everywhere, even in the villages. Yeah. then less investment due to long time return and need smart risk management. If you invest in the upstream coffee, so we have to prepare, especially natural risk because of climate and I think coffee have a lot of experience, with the farm. I know. I know. Starting with this coffee in Padamaran. Then the positive thing, investment mainly in coffee shop due to better knowledge and lifestyle effect. Coffee shop in Indonesia is grow very, very fast and everywhere. Then high price volatility is a very big problem. The position of green bean is buyer market, not producer market. So the market. Then oppositely, low price volatility, producer and market. A lot of investment goes to the downstream industry, not stream. Then last but not least, lack of innovation and new technology applied by advantage because a lot of challenge. Then technologies very fast in the downstream. This is a kind of paradox of the industry in Indonesia right now. I would like to share, this is my analysis, coffee production in Indonesia. So production must only grow almost 1%. Not change years. Then export grow 2%, but import is very fast. It is the average of growth during 20 years. This is the comparison between export and export to Japan. So export to Japan is probably down by years. Sorry. Why? Sorry. Compare per decade. So in the 20s until 2009, so about 50% our coffee exported to Japan. But in the next decade, we only export about 10% exported to Japan. But this decade, 1/4. It's very interesting. Why? Why? We can share each together. We can each share together. But I like to possible issues. Maybe if there is some changes of demand in Japan, characteristics of it, or maybe supply from Indonesia also going down because of domestic consumption increasing. So maybe question of price. I don't know, but some Indonesian coffee more expensive than other coffee, other origin maybe. If Robusta compared to Vietnam, I don't know, but I think Lampung coffee, AP, is more expensive, than the coffee from other countries. Or maybe quality, condition of quality, or issue. And last but this also issue in environment. That's why CAPI as a foundation conducts something like what we call social want to invest more on the social investment at smallholding farm kids in order to solve this problem, mainly this problem, the quality food environment. Okay, I would like to describe some important challenges right now based on the technical issue, social issues, and environment issues at the farm kit. What we can, I'm coffee grower. I grow about 4 hectares coffee in Sumatra, so I understand of farmers. Yeah. So this is my our now very low productivity, only 13 or 40 14 bag per hectare. If we compare with Vietnam, we can produce 5 bags per hectare. Brazil 29 bags. Colombia and Ethiopia. Yeah. So make significant efforts productivity. Yeah, this is our big challenge. Indonesia, the coffee is mainly produced by the small with a lot of constraints. The same thing, quality inconsistent. Yeah. A lot of sometimes from the buyer, Indonesian coffee, some maybe several times inconsistent because the coffee in Indonesia is mainly produced by smallholder farmers with a lot of variation, even land, technology, and also other concerns. Limited application of good agricultural practices, especially this type. In relation with the residues, because residues is very important with the health. Then in terms of social and economic issues, farmers very narrow land ownership. Yeah, in average maybe 1 hectare. But in Java, farmers only have less than 1 hectare. So sometimes very difficult to make more decision in their land. Lack of knowledge and skill, they need a lot of capacity building, training, and also by backstopping and guiding there in the farmer. Is volatility. We have very bad experience during the COVID. In 2020, 2021, the price in Indonesia very low. That lot coffee uprooted, changed to the other plants. And so the young generation, growing areas, to go to the urban area. They want to be barista. Not they do like more to be barista than to be problem with the aging farmer. Then capacity building. The environment issues, we have problem with climate change, soil conservation, and last but not least, knowledge about what is the hazard of all of this issue. Must be with the capacity building or more investment in the farm gate. Sorry. Coffee approach is promoting a program on community-based model, not only but community-based model with the area 100 hectares. So we are the CAPI try to the community at least 100 hectares, not only in order to build 2 tons per hectare. Our option, we want to improve the productivity threefold of now the productivity. This is the measures. What we would like to by what measure? The first one is we support the suitable high yielding varieties for the farmers. The second, optimize plant population, because in Indonesia mostly still use less optimum of the plant population. Then correct seed trees, because seeded coffee normally they have a flavor better coffee or unseeded trees. Then effective plant nutrition management, application of pest pruning method, and the last one is adalah integrated pest management to minimize residue or pesticide residue. Selamat datang Pak Adi. Issue is about quality. This is also we would like to the problem by community model, yeah, actually but in order to solve the quality issue, we have a different approach. We have to provide quality variety with then suitable growing area, because Arabica coffee everywhere. We only can grow coffee in the islands. Maximum quality. Then optimizing seed trees, maintaining plant health, then selective checking. We are glad, mainly in Sumatra, the is still very good, because only red picked by the farmer. Then the last one is best post-harvest processing, because if the coffee with nice cherries, but incorrect processing, the taste also will lose. Quality of taste will different. Now, talk about the food safety issues, mainly residue and contamination. We introduce the resistant coffee varieties. If we introduce pest resistant coffee varieties, so we expect the application that will reduce significantly. So we expect the coffee farmers healthier than other varieties. Integrated pest management. We ask the farmer to use the only and the last alternative, last option. If we can do other methods, but we don't use any pesticide. With single pest control, we promote pest control, then good monitoring practices. This is the issue. We also introduce the regenerative agriculture practices, and the last one is organic farming. But organic farming, that's why we have to apply this one step by step. Okay. With the Japan market, yeah. We have issue personally with carbaryl, carbaryl. In 2011, different kind of sample from Indonesia detected the minimum limit carbaryl. Then 13, cybermetry. Yeah, maybe you should run, yeah. Okay, now already overcome, yeah. Then isoprocar and 2,4-D. This is the very new issues about the residue. Sorry. But sorry. Waste typing. Then contamination. Yeah. We have also problem overcome. Yeah. On the EU market with the level very low, only 5, and this also glyphosate, yeah, mainly coffee from Gayo, from Sumatra, yeah, but now already been overcome, yeah, by better practices in the. Yeah. Social capacity building is very important, yeah, mainly improvement of women farmers. We try to produce their own seedlings by themselves. So, how do you call it? Have better understanding and belonging with the seedling, because they care the seedling by the transplanting. We expect they can also coffee in the right way. The second is attract the youth to conduct coffee farming. So the youth to be farmers, not to be barista. Because the youth in my village too, they want to go to the city. They want to be, but we expect they just and building their future with the coffee farm. Facilitate access to financial support, yeah, mainly the soft loan, yeah. Then facilitate better market access and training, guiding on GAP application and farm management. Yeah. This is key for the social capacity building. Okay, climate change issues. Yeah, we only we want to adapt and we want to participate, because now at the moment the climate issue is coming. Yeah? So we try our best to adapt. And the second thing, to reduce the effect of climate change. How to adapt? We grow new Arabica varieties adaptable to climate change. We had some varieties of Liberica coffee. Yeah? The coffee can be grown over sea level, so without any problem with the high temperature. That's why I mentioned at the beginning, Liberica coffee can choose our future of coffee in the next round from Indonesia. So develop coffee species adaptable to climate change, and then develop climate smart agriculture, CSA. We ask the farmers to grow as good as possible with the CSA approach, that they can stock the carbon in the coffee farm. And practices, dual coffee production, towards carbon neutral and carbon negative by energy use efficiency and participant training, development of climate smart practices in the coffee.
Judith, maybe we can speed up the presentation.
Jelas.
Thank you so much.
But sometimes it takes time also. Okay. So why we also concern with the climate change can increase the CBB. So we're reducing quantity and also reducing quality. The second one, leaf miner, it's also this. The third, millibug. It's very dangerous. Pest, because the cherry and can be dyed and dried. The last one is reduce flowering because of chicken reform. So climate change is very important altogether because it will threaten the coffee production in the next era. This is my short presentation. Thank you very much. Arigatou gozaimasu.
That was such a clear explanation we got from. Thank you for bringing up all the market trends, the export-import statistics, and all the issues that unlock the potential as well for the coffee industry in Indonesia. Thank you so much, Pak Sudip. That was very informative session. All right, now let's next move forward to the next. We may hear from from the director of Key Coffee, Mr. No. So, Mr. Masataka Nakano, please come forward and the time.
Konnichiwa. Hello. Sorry, in Japanese. こんにちは、キーコーヒーの中野です。お願いします。時間を頂戴してありがとうございます。今日、インドネシアンコーヒーのプロモーションなので、一生懸命ひいきします。So, thank you to everyone. So, especially Miss Judith and Aiki and the Indonesian Embassy for joining. My name is Nakano from Key Coffee. I'm a director and judge of procurement of green beans. So I'm grateful to be invited to this aimed at the development, strengthening. So today I will be talking on the following agenda. The company profile about coffee and our Indonesian coffee marketing. And I'd like to share a promotional video, philosophy of Indonesian coffee. You finally hear, jacket, the opportunity about the strengthening of Indonesian coffee. So I will 15-minute presentation. So I would appreciate it if it could with until the end. Okay. So here is our company outline. The left side is Key Coffee Japan, and the right side is Peteto Alcojaya in our subsidiary. So we are Japanese roaster, but what makes us very is that we are also roaster in Japan, but a producer in Italy. We have been business in Japan for over 100 years, and in Indonesia also around 50 years managing. Farm covers 530 hectares in a plantation, over 300,000 Arabica production, maybe 300. So, next. Sorry. So, this is our factory in Japan. So we are managing 4 roasting factories and calculated if we roasting a factory, so 20 days a month and 10 hours a day. It's like roasting is maybe 60,000 tons a year. And this is our roasting in 2024. It was almost 37,000 tons. But from our 4 factories I mentioned before, we have the contract factories, maybe total around 40,000 tons in Japan. And right side, our procurement volume of green beans around 50,000 tons per year. So we mainly purchase from Brazil and as Asian share, but mainly, I'm sorry, from Brazil. The below is our main product, and in addition to beans and RTD product, also unique product, Loripon is a So, next our Indonesian coffee. So we use a lot of Indonesian integrated the raw material in our most important product, like a house brand, special brand. We're using Indonesian coffee. On the other hand, we also use a Toraja coffee from Indonesia, which is produced by our subsidiary company, PT Toarco. And we just Toraja as a top quality brand named Toarco Toraja. Thank you very much. Explaining using the onion, Mr. Slipson also said quality and very important for the coffee. And I think this is so especially in the current situation, like prices in. So that's why in this time many people focus like emotional value, but still important consistency and quality. Without core value, maybe it doesn't work well in Japanese market. So it would be great if all our customer so only social value maybe work well. Most of Japanese people it's not that. So quality and taste is very important, absolutely. So let's take a look example of Japanese agricultural products. Do you know soba? Do you know soba? Maybe everyone knows that. So what kind of different image? Then the soba and the Shinshu soba. So soba, noodle, it's a noodle. They enjoy it in Japan for about 1,000 years, very popular in Japan. So, and agriculture is buckwheat. So, it's the answer. Shinshu in Nagano Prefecture, Central Japan mountain area. So there are many foreign visitors. If I'm apologize, stand about soba, about Nagano Prefecture, the many Japanese image in Nagano Prefecture evokes strongly high quality buckwheat, pure water, and good nature, but good. That's why brand image is so. Mr. Slipson says the Nagano soba from it has a good quality and consistency. The soba and coffee is mirip, same. Bahasa Indonesia. So going back to onion chart, the most important value about coffee is taste quality. And if these values are stable, then social value, emotional value will work function and maybe creating and building a strong brand. To focus on such a various value first, such a social value, but I said many times, but core value most important in Japanese market. So for many years, we keep on conducting business activities based on the principle. First, Toraja Coffee has also promoted itself. But in recent years, we have been promoting with attributes in addition to quality. Let me share the video that we unveiled in SCAJ 2 years ago. Here, it takes only 2 minutes. Please. Taste, but recently we also is using Xtribute also. So, final agenda today about the market opportunity here in Japan. So, Japanese coffee market. I'd like to explain about the retail market, such as a supermarket, convenience store, is one of the major coffee market in Japan. like me, and the manufacturers have to launch a product twice a year in Japan, spring, summer season, and fall, winter season, twice time. But however, it means there's a big drawing the product if the selling score is not so good. For becoming a long-selling and strong brand products, quality and consistency is very important Japanese coffee market, because score is not good for the product. If Japan, all customer gates, I don't worry about, but us and the taste is very important. Sorry. So maybe this is from SCA Coffee Valley Association. Also, quality is the most important attribute in Japan. But I think good intrinsic attribute and extrinsic attribute is important, I think. Only focusing on extrinsic is not work well. In Japan, firstly is a quality. Recently, SCA also have advocated in this. Next, sorry. Let's take a look at the Japanese market in basic numbers. This is number of coffee association in Japan. 2024, Japanese quantity is 357,000 tons per year. Annual consumption per man only per year. So Finland is maybe triple. I think that's why Japan has a still chance. If there's a good, I want to make in 5 or 6 kilo per. I want to try. So there's a fine. Stripson also say the Mandarin is a well-known Indonesian coffee brand. In addition, as an origin brand such as Java, Gayo, Jaya, Bali, and Toraja, and Tuarco, and Petesroto. So I think great potential value, both intrinsic and extrinsic attribute in Indonesian coffee. So we keep coffee not only as a roaster in Japan, but also as a producer of Indonesian coffee. Hope that this forum will have a wonderful opportunity and to further enhance the presence of Indonesia. Terima kasih. Hatur nuhun.
That was such an eye-opening presentation, Mr. Masatano. Thank you so much. From this presentation, we really learn about how big the impact of the consistency and also the quality of the coffee taste and also the product. Thank you so much, Mr. Masataka Nakano, for the presentation. Well, now we are going to, for our keynote session, we are honored to welcome a leading global expert. Please welcome Ms. Judith Ganes for the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning. It is my honor to be here, and I thank you so much for having me come and present my views and for your attendance here when we could be running around to so many other. So I just spent 10 the beautiful country of Indonesia, and I will talk about that in my presentation. But first I want to look at the world outlook so that there's a lot of questions, sometimes answers, but I'm going to explain many factors that I see are important in analyzing the market fundamentals and determining where the market price is headed. So the first thing is taking a look at Arabica versus Robusta prices on a very long-term basis. So out before I zoom in on the fundamentals. See back to 1997, 1996, and for the past year, I've been talking about if there's going to be an increase in price, the analog year, the year it's going to be most like 1997. In 2000, my presentation, in 2010, there was a problem with the coffee crop because of heavy La Nina rains, and it reduced, and the market was caught by surprise and rallied very sharply. Have a situation in Colombia again where there's La Nina rain. It's hurt the Mataka crop, but not nearly as badly as what happened in 2010. But if you look at the situation and you look at the examples that I pointed out, the highlighted years, there's something in common aside from high prices, and that is that the price rose sharply while Robusta prices languished. What did roasters do? They said, what is your next best coffee? It's a cheaper coffee. When Arabica prices became too high, to Robusta. So I remember very well in 1990, first time the arbitrage or the price spread between New York Arabica and London Robusta prices widened out and exploded as much. And American roasters figured out how to steam clean Robusta coffee from Vietnam. Vietnam was only first to increase their production in the 1990s. So it used to be that, and Colombia was number 2, and then Vietnam moved second slot. And so Robusta supply was plentiful. That's when you had more flexibility started in the blends. Commonalities with 1997 I'm going to talk about as I go through my presentation. But just understand that when prices show a wide disparity, there is going to be switching in demand. It's inevitable. And we're seeing that now. If you look at the different classifications based on the International Coffee Organization, they group coffee as Brazilian Naturals, Robusta, Colombian Mild, which in Colombia, Tanzania, and Kenya, and then other milds, which would be your Mexican, Peruvians, and your East African Arabicas mostly. And so you could see that there's price disparities sometimes that occur because of supply and demand shifts between the varieties, and you will again see some shift in demand. It's what is your next best coffee? If you can't get your Colombian coffee, then you're going to say, okay, and it's not to a price you're going to want, and we're going to Guatemalan or a Honduran or Costa Rican, and in terms of the Asian market. And so roasters are more flexible, and technology has helped that. What we see here is that the Brazilian have been depressed relative to other coffees. This tendency to gravitate towards more at the expense of other grades. Now, Brazil able to fill the void when Vietnam and India had smaller crop prior 2 years. And so Brazil was able to step up and export very aggressively. But now the production in Indonesia looks beautiful and production on the recovery. And so that Brazilian coffee isn't really needed. And so the market is all focused on, oh, Brazil's going to have a stop. But I'm saying, but we don't need as big a crop because other are now go back to producing how they were before the climatic. So that's why we've seen them coming down, even though it is very well known the current Brazilian crop that's being harvested is more than last year. So people were thinking, oh, the market should keep going up and up and up. The crop, there's going to be tight supplies for the next year. But you have to look at the total global picture. And therefore, my view is I've been talking about the 25-26 crop for over a year already. Now I want to focus on these. And so when I look at the supply, I'm thinking ahead. Okay. So here's another way to look at the price between Arabica and looking at the arbitrage. So that price spread in the first slide, this is just what that price spread actually is. What I point out here very quickly is that last year there was the shortfall in Vietnamese and Indonesian coffee differential, or the cash price less the futures price, shot up extremely high levels. And the arbitrage, very, very narrow for the first time at high. Normally, when the price spread between Arabica and Robusta is small, it's because prices are depressed. That Arabica prices are going to fall, Robusta prices will find the support, arbitrage tightens. And it's only when prices rally because of issue, usually, Arabica prices go up, and then Robusta climb only modestly, they follow only modestly. It's the first time that the Robusta market became so tight, where demand for Robusta coffee has been so strong that the price narrowed considerably, where Arabica and Robusta prices were very close together. And in the difference, the premiums that you pay, the differential, in the that some Robusta prices were above Arabica prices. Now, why does it matter? It flows. And the differentials, so cash prices minus futures is the differential, and commodities it's called the basis. So when the basis is something that happens in the coffee market, and that is your coffee always to the company that's going to pay the highest. If differentials are negative, then coffee is going to be sold into the New York market. So you have to think in terms of the futures market when prices are low and when prices are high. So people will use the futures market a mechanism to move the flow of coffee when prices are at more extreme levels. So what happens is when differentials are strong, no one wants to bring coffee to because you could get a higher price in the cash market. When they're depressed, then the board is the best buyer. And you start certified stocks or stocks that are deliverable against the New York contract. But we've had stocks coming down, and the number of bags that are pending grading has been very low. Even though the market spread, and this is technical, but when you look at the differentials and you look at between the first contract month and the second contract month, when that spread is inverted and is at a premium, okay, then what happens? You will have coffee being sold in the New York market. So when you have, and it's called backwardation, normally the difference between the first and the second and the more distant month is called contango, a carrying charge market. That price difference from one month to the next represents the cost of carrying the coffee, your warehouse costs, interest, the cost of money. Converted, it represents a tendency for supplies to tighten. The market does this, it rallies and it inverts with good, and that is that if there's a shortfall, then we want to get more coffee delivered sooner. We want to encourage production, and we want people to sell their coffee that maybe they didn't like the price, and we want more coffee to fill the void and the gaps in the supply chain. And so the market inverts, bring more coffee to the marketplace and helps to stop the flow of exports. Because if the price is more expensive today, it's cheaper in 2 weeks or 2 months, then you want to sell it today. No one wants any money on the table. And so you work with a very fine pencil computer, and you figure out even the smallest difference in price. This is business. And so the market is very, very efficient to solve for gaps in the supply. Also, having the higher price encourages and helps to increase future supply. Now, if this is for soybeans, you put seed in the ground and 5 months later you have your coffee is a tree. It takes time, and there's more influences, and the market has to increase at a faster speed sometimes because it takes longer to bring that production on. Now, coffee prices have been elevated above average for multiple seasons because of the climatic factors, mostly in Brazil. And so we've had several years of high prices already. The thing has been that we need to put the brakes on the prices and prices to come down, because if prices stay as strong as they are, faced with huge oversupply 2 years from now. We have to worry about what will happen if prices stayed at extreme. While great for farmers, in the end, it becomes a crisis. So for the market to pull back is actually helpful if prices were to stay at these very high levels. Look at this situation. There's very little coffee that's coming for grading marketplace. And one of the reasons is because Brazil's quality of The Brazilian crop last year was not good. And in processing, the yields, and so there was very little Brazilian coffee available for delivery against the New York contract, no matter how high. And this is what is happening in the marketplace now. Look at this chart, you'll see that the market has been inverted for the second amount of time ever. So not only have prices been at historically high levels, never before reached, the longest time ranked based on the number of calendar trading sessions during this period. I want to point out 97. Remember, I said 1997, I'm going to talk about to this year, an analog year. In 1990, the market went from $1.25 to $3.18 a pound in 4 months flat, hit new high, and roasters switched coffee blends, but certified stocks during extremely low. And the market, when it collapsed in May, the market stayed in backwardation for 13 months, past the time the market peaked. So here we have a situation again where in May, the Arabica market peaked, and yet we remain in backwardation. Roasters are thinking, when is this market going to go back to contango? It takes time. You can't just quickly turn a ship. I think we're going to remain in backwardation longer than the bull market is surviving. So when you look at the number of bags that come to the market, they're graded. Some fail, some pass. When more was failing than passing, a very quick point, not always is deliverable against the New York contract. In fact, a very, very percentage of Brazilian coffee is deliverable. So Brazil mostly does processing by natural, and then they also do a system of semi-washed. Now, the 25 past crop, very little was processed as semi-washed. Not sure that Brazil is going to be processing that much semi-washed with a crop that they're currently harvesting. That means that there might be flow of Brazilian coffee coming to the market, and it can underpin the market and keep the market concerned about the supply of coffee against the New York futures contract. 2% of all coffee is actually delivered. However, if you are a short the futures contract and the buyer wants to take delivery and you get that coffee in certified stock, then you start to panic because you have to get that coffee. And the market becomes very sensitive or responsive to the flow of coffee against the board for delivery. Separate from total global supplies. No deliverable stocks, but improving global supplies. And will help to dictate the price direction. Look at the spreads, the differentials, whether you could get more coffee to the board, the arbitrage and demand flows. And so the market is very, very good at solving its own difficulties. It's very, very efficient. More so than this remote. Okay, now, There's very little Brazilian coffee that was delivered, and you could see the percentage of certified stocks. Brazil was king, and now there are regions that were delivered because the price spread liquidation was wide enough to bring other coffee to the board, but we have, and Brazil has been the largest deliverable by far in 6 years. Honduras had delivered a large amount a number of years ago, but really there isn't any other country that can step up in terms of deliverable supplies right now. And that's why the market is going super sensitive and hyper to the situation. And especially that the Brazilian 25-26 processing, the yields are running lower, that it might not replenish the market, the supply of deliverable coffee as fast as we had hoped. The certified stocks are no longer increasing, they're coming down, and this is the levels relative to prior years. Here you could see that most of the stock is in Europe, New York. In 1997, Europe was not a deliverable port. These weren't even allowed to be delivered against New York until March 2013. So in 1997, it took longer for the market to reconcile the shortfall than it would have now, except for the problem we still don't know if we're going to have a lot of Brazilians available from the new crop. The Robusta certified stocks, they remain very low. They've started to come up. If there's any sort of difficulty, there really isn't enough coffee there to really satisfy demand. So we have a situation where is improving, but the stocks are still at historically low level. Therefore, the market sensitivity is going to be very high still. Potential, if there's any climatic factors or surprises, how is that supply going to be covered? So we're not going to see the market crash just yet. We're still at levels hovering just around $3. Historically, it's still for Arabica at very, very high prices. In the past caused producers to increase their production as rapidly as possible and to unload roasters to slow down purchasing, for roasters to take action to shift blends and to sometimes compromise on quality, maybe to help manage their business and over high prices. So on a global, you could see that consumer stocks are going to be fairly stable or levels, and producer stocks are expected to improve in 25-26 season. But still overall situation that producers no longer have this mountain of stocks of coffee. Look at this comparison, say, oh my God, there's like, this is extreme. That volume of coffee to start with. So you can't really look at that. European coffee stocks are on the low side. Again, if there isn't any unexpected issues, the market should be able to deal with, because we've worked with this lower supply, the purchasing, there's other factors, and we're looking at improved supply in the season ahead. So the October to September season, based on the ICO, Peru had a bigger crop, even though Colombia had these with their Mitaka crop, the secondary harvest, 425 production is still much greater than the year before. And improvements again in Vietnam, Indonesia, and so it'll like that. So I'm really not that worried, but we have to be mindful. There's still potential for some disruption. They're perfect in most areas. Here you can see the quick gain in Robusta productivity compared to around many countries that were only producing coffee are at increasing and expanding into Robusta. And demand shifts, and because of the ease relative to Arabica. And so I think that trend is going to continue. Panama, and even Panama, which has Arabica production at the highest prices in the world, is even looking at in some areas. Look at the Brazil crop. The Brazilian 25-6 production is going to be less than last year. 3 on-year crops that have been lower, 2 on-year production. So you have the bigger crop, the alternating crop years. And 2021 will record Arabica output, and 22-23 big crop in Brazil, and the 25-26 crop, 425 crop. And what happened was production nations, because you had frost, you had drought, you had high searing temperature, impacted production. 26-27, that is the crop start to flower in late September, October. That has potential to rebound to a record level. Everything goes smoothly between now and then. It's unlikely that there's winter in Brazil. The vegetative growth on the 20 crop has been excellent. And you had here, because the 25-26 flowering was so poor, farmers took a decision to basically skeleton trees. So they didn't have the production this year, but those trees come back next year, more so than the usual amount. And that should give the crop the Lord that I'm expecting, and that will help to ease the supply shortfall, plus the Robusta crop to increase. Really, Honduras is carrying the load for most countries, but from the market perspective, well, first off, Central America has problems with labor shortages. But even with that, you could see how production has come down, not likely to see a big recovery, even with these higher prices, because of the challenges on the farms, and you're not large volumes of Honduran coffee delivered against the New York contract. When Honduras previously delivered, it was because they had this huge production, the increase that you see, and their differential collapsed, and therefore they dumped all the coffee into the New York market. We're not going to see that happen again. When I look at the Brazilian crop, I'm looking 2 years out, looking at as one crop is developing, the other crop is starting to see the branches grow, and the pre-budding, the budding for that's going to be the flowers that we'll see short time. And here you can see the improved rainfall overall. There was a mini dry spell that impacted the 25-26 bean development, but the vegetative growth was outstanding for 26-27. Here you also see the temperatures, and you could see how for the 25-26 crop, you ask yourself, why was the crop compromised? During the vegetative growth period, you had extremely high temperatures that compromised the crop. And the high then persisted, and there was dry weather with it, and therefore 26 Arabica production was hurt. For 26-27, the gold line, there was only a brief period where temperatures increased. And the end of the growth cycle. So for the most part, when the branches are growing, new nodes are forming, everything was fine. And that's why I'm confident about my outlook for 26-27. Here you could see the Vietnamese recovery. There's going to grown. Back to coffee. Here's Colombia. You could see how outstanding the main crop, and then production the past few months dropped off because it's possible the Colombian main crop impacted, but as I said before, nowhere near the situation is what 10 years, almost 15 years ago. Ethiopia and Uganda are certainly looking to improve their production at great success. So there's more coffee coming out of the larger producers in Africa. And here you could see Indonesia having the improvement, while our neighbor India has seen production stagnate in comparison. Global coffee exports started the season for note because of smaller shipments from Vietnam. Things have improved, and now you could see that with high prices and the possibility of prices falling down again, that producers are saying, I'm going to sell, and we're seeing the exports increase, even though Brazil's share exports has been smaller the past couple of months. Arabica exports are now lagging behind year-ago levels, not by very much. There's an improvement in Robusta, and that's a reflection of the supply and the dips in the market. Robusta exports climbing again, and I expect that they're going to remain strong. And we should see the exports in a very positive way for 25-26 as well, even reduction in the Brazilian Arabica crop. So here you could see huge increase in the Brazilian shipments, and they also had the foreign exchange market working in their favor to step up. Vietnamese exports improving. Colombian exports on the smaller side, but being offset by others. Now, the good stuff. Okay, that was my formal presentation, but I want to talk about through the Indonesian coffee areas, and a couple of very quick. One, it's just beautiful. Talk about culture and the atmosphere. you just absorb it the same way as you're absorbing the sun here. Okay, some of the areas we went to, very high altitude, and in this region, this altitude region, fermenting with both Arabica and Robusta, and normally they're on lower altitudes, and they're having success with the Arabica in some of the same areas. We saw here is these elevations. I mentioned that I'm in Panama, and that Panama has some of like the most expensive in the world, and it's grown at these high elevations. And so the of this coffee could, if you want to compare it, characteristics that make the Panamanian coffee prized coffee, great attention here in Indonesia. So that's number C. The yields were outstanding on some of the areas. There was some early flowering that we saw, but it's too early to say be a hindrance or a boost for next. We need to see what the weather is and farmer action, but the flowering looked beautiful. Okay. The next point that I want to make is this gentleman, this coffee farmer. He is well educated, and he is doing everything possible to experiment and in coffee production and experimenting with mitigate climate change. So what he is doing is in an area, he has several different farm areas. They're in areas where it's medium humidity. And so he's taking coffee that's typically grown in higher humidity, growing on his farms, and he's experimenting with coffee that's typically arid conditions and putting them on his farms. And he's doing these test comparisons. Outstanding. And so there is innovation to mitigate climate change and see how Indonesia survive and thrive for the future. And the farmers were beautiful. And so I was super impressed. His very steep slopes. And he was digging trenches of the rainfall, so that way, if the extended period of dryness, the soil moisture was sustained, and so that was his key to success. And I thought that was wonderful. And he's easy about sharing his knowledge and helping others. Next, an area which was a lot of fun, and it is a coffee community, and basically you have soccer field, football field, this huge field, and everyone is collectively their coffee in a shared space. The village is there, they're working community to help their production. And the kids are running and enjoying being out in this coffee community. The others were sitting on the sidelines, they're having a picnic, they're making fun for the future generation. And then my favorite. Okay. This little girl is 10 years old, cuter than cute, shy, but was taking in, she's the farmer, she was taking in everything. She led us around. We went through some forested area, and she knew her way back, and so we were following her lead. And this is the future generation of Indonesian coffee. A girl who is just absolutely precious. And so Indonesia is going to look at a future for coffee. Here it is. So, I mean, she was just precious. And coffee farmers like her, then Indonesian coffee is going to have history. So with that, we have a video. Take some time to show you of the tour.
From Indonesia's ancient lands, a profound here, nature's artistry cultivates coffee of unparalleled. Witness the majestic landscapes where every bit is a taste, patient, and unparalleled quality. This is more than it is the soul of a nation, elegantly presented. This nation's extraordinary essence.
So, thank you.
And we got from Miss Judith. Thank you so much, Miss Judith, for the market outlook and also the experience in Indonesia coffee tour. So as announced previously, I have a summary of the today's presentation in Japanese. So our interpreter will summarize everything in Japanese while we are preparing.
本日のプレゼンテーションについて誠にありがとうございます。はい。本日のサムリーについて話しています。最初に、についてインドネシアのコーヒーの歴史、カポジャワの由来、コーヒーに世界で機会が大きくなり、インサイトがそれに、スリップマワルディ様コーヒー研究会について高企業のイノベーション可能高品質とその高企業の課題の解決のコミュニティモデルとインドネシアと日本の高級なインサイトが理解してきます。キーコーヒー株式会社のコアベル完成とその品質について話しています。にジュリー様がコーヒー市場の現状とインドネシアの結果について発表されています。以上で4つのサビについて話しています。はい、ありがとうございます。
Okay, thank you so much for presentation, especially now. Right now, we are going to move forward with the forum to guide us through the rest of the session, including the key for the panel. I would like to hand over to our moderator. So please welcome Ibu Pangesti. Ibu Pangesti.
Hello everyone. Everyone having a good time? Right. Okay. Before I start our Q&A this afternoon, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Pangesti Budiman. I do because there will be an important guest coming up to our today. Let's just start our. I would like to invite Miss Judith Ganes. Hi, please. It's an honor for me. This is my time hosting your talk and to be here again. And then I would like to also invite Surip. Silakan Bapak. Can I hear please? we energy. You know why? Because Judith's last slides smile on me, and then the next one will be Mr. Masataka Nakano. And the last, not the least, is our very own Pak Dodi S. Kusumundur. Please, Pak. Harus, Pak. Bapak Dodi S. Kusumonegoro as a counselor for Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia here in Osaka. Okay, so today we have listened to a coffee story from all over the world. We also get a little bit of insight from in Indonesia, the future of coffee in Indonesia, and we enrich our experience from a story from coffee of India since the day of the Dutch colony, and also a highlight from Japan. Before I give the floor the opportunity to ask questions to our panel, I would like to talk a little bit with Judith. Judging from your last slide, do you think the future of Indonesia coffee is yes? Then what sort of tips we can apply into the Indonesian coffee? Because, for example, like climate change and stuff, not avoid that. But But I see that you mentioned earlier about the way the coffee farmers is doing or mitigate, they solve in the farm that can be adapt or can be adapted by farmers. That I also believe that there is some of that implies in those sort of tips. Please.
Of this little girl that just captivated me, how we came upon her father originally when we were visiting the farm. She was home, and I went to their house to use their toilet for her, and I thought, oh, she's so sweet. And I had some cookies in my bag to her, and she smiled. And then I had the cat, and I thought, oh, she looks better in it than I do. And then nodded to the mother to come with us, because I was just attracted. I like all the little children and seeing them smile. And the mother came with the little girl, and when the people talking and sharing expertise, she was standing there, and I had someone translate to tell her very carefully, this man is helping your father to the farm, and he's, giving her that positive for the farm. And she stayed. She stayed put. She didn't run, and she was watching her father and listening. And so it was so important, so that the had the experience for having the expert and positivity from that. Otherwise, she would have just been at home. But that's remember and focus on. And then as we were walking through the ahead, and we were following her and following her back, because otherwise would have been lost. So it gave her the moment of joy and feeling good about being on the farm. And I'm with her for the time when she decides that she continue to help and learn.
Right, it's a beautiful story.
So,
right.
Yeah, it was magical. And, it improves her view, giving her that positive image about her father that otherwise she wouldn't have seen.
Right.
Yeah.
She learns from a very young age from her father. Talking about climate change mitigation, just a little bit before I talk to the other panelists. What sort of climate change mitigation that you saw during your visit in Lampung or in Jawa Barat?
So the biggest thing was building these little trenches next to the trees to capture more rainwater, to help improve the soil moisture. And obviously, that is a critical element. And so I thought that was very clever.
Right. Thank you.
It was simple, and it just made sense.
Yeah.
You just have to watch where you're walking.
To your own
Yeah, exactly.
surroundings, right? Okay. Thank you so much, Judith. But we hear a lot about all over the world that not many young people wants to be the farmers, as your presentation. Looking back at Judith's presentation and also another panelist's presentation, how do you see the Indonesian coffee judging from the current situation? Because Judith has from time to time what's going on in the market that affected by others. Please, Pak.
Thank you, Ibu. So, I still with the future of Indonesian coffee because even though the youth
Can you put your mic a little bit closer to yes? Yes.
even though a lot of the youth want to go to the cities for looking the option for their career, the next career, we expect different by the government of Indonesia also to their intention on the promoting hope in the coffee, in coffee. I'm a Japanese, now I'm farming in North Sumatra. So
Interesting.
my family almost 4 hectares of coffee land, but my objective is for education, and our main target is the youth. Yeah, we are very satisfied if different kind of youth from other village. My service is for free and open access, and I'm still very optimistic because the youth is not enough knowledge about the coffee business for their future. So provide better and correct information about the process. And in Sumatra is a very good, very nice price. Arabica in Sumatra. So we try to explain them. You have opportunity. So we try to convince them. Yeah, by looking, and also we try to introduce them. Yeah,
right.
Based on the STEM approach. What we call STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right. So education and sending out a good, positive, and a useful information will be also some of key factors that will help us in this coffee industry. Since Pak Surip mentioning about help or the support from the government, Pak Dodi, can we have some enlightenment of what sort of support from the government that the coffee industry, especially the coffee farmers, the coffee trade from the government?
Opportunity. This is actually very enriching for this session. Also learn more about the coffee and plantation and also the product produce it. Our mission normally usually promoting Indonesian coffee to enter like markets in the world. To be honest, that the challenge also to Japan. Japan has a very nice clean coffee, but in any other
right
imported goods, yeah, even the European Unions. So, for instance, you can see Japan like the cup, it's 0.01 ppm. That's also a challenge for our coffee because we know that those things like mealybugs and those other things, the gelatin in the tropical. So that's another challenge. Also in other, of course, the continuations of the production, the good quality production, against starting from the grassroots. Yeah, I would say. Actually, we have to also maintain sustainability, yeah, for our productions.
Right.
Because the Japanese market work with some other importers of Japanese coffee. The Japanese are very interested about how this coffee produced, how this coffee actually impact the lives of the people, the lives
the
of
traceability,
the farmers. So I have known also Japanese imports in Indonesia, like what Nakano-san just showed, to film about farmers, about children and how actually they can for education of their children and how actually can also improve the lives of the village. So also a part of the story. As I mentioned before, we have a very long history of coffee, and some people only knows, okay, we only produce it massively, but that is the case because society are very, very critical. So the government has started also from the grassroots with the cooperative system that could support all the young generations among the coffee farmers in Indonesia. It starts from there first.
Okay.
Before then, the of coffee is very important here to educate the people, not only all the consumers in Indonesia how to appreciate coffee more. Coffee is something that we drink. It has more than that.
Yeah. So more than just a drinks, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Pak Dodi. That the information is important, the support from the government, starting from the grassroots. Promotion is also important, especially here in Japan. And I was so excited to see the video from Masataka Nakano-san. Boraja is also the heart of one of the heart of coffee, the center of coffee. And it is interesting that the way your video is actually promoting Indonesian coffee. See from the video that your point of view is straight from core of the life in Toraja. Introduce that to Japan. Can you tell us a little bit about your video, or where did you get that idea?
Terima kasih, Ibu. And I say during the presentation, many times I said the quality is very important because around 15 years from 1976, maybe, plantation in Toraja. So when we only promoting quality, giving a sample, the taste, giving a taste, so we continues maybe 30, 40 years. But that's why maybe some many Japanese people understand the coffee project.
Right.
So, but in recent, the value of coffee is changes, more important value, basic value. But in this time, I think as a extrinsic value, such who is cultivating, who is planting, the culture. What's like he mentioned, say 2 years ago we making a video focusing on extrinsic value. So that's why value is not worked well. So first we have this presentation advocated the quality first, market stable. After that, extrinsic worked. So I think.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's come a bit. Well, we hear from everyone about manufacturers, the coffee industry, especially in Indonesia, and especially for Japan's, and also considering other factors globally, like Trump tariffs, or how does all of this will impact the coffee industry globally, also for Indonesian coffee industry, especially for Japan's market?
So from Indonesia to Japan, mouth, voice, ideas don't reach. Okay?
Yes. Just
so
yeah.
Indonesia to Japan, it's between Indonesia and Japan, and doesn't have a say on what's being charged.
Okay. Is that the thing? Okay.
Okay. Though I will say that much as he's like a dog, you know, like that barks, I do think that in the end he is going to be, and cocoa and possibly even orange juice, another import into the U.S. at no tariff, and it's going to be separated. He did that, the White House hinted at that a few weeks ago. There's a lot of the U.S. industry through the National Coffee Association and roasters, online forum that I was like number 13,000 something. Okay, signature for the tariffs to basically go away. I don't think he's saying it yet because he doesn't want to give up his bargain. But I think that in the end, he's not going to decimate the American coffee market by having these, especially for Brazil, 50%. Really grows any coffee. It's symbolic in Hawaii, in Puerto Rico, and a little bit in California. But I mean, so very little, okay, like a couple of trees. It doesn't make sense to have the tariff for coffee and cocoa when we can't produce it. The administration isn't blind to that. So it's just the sort of the important point is that even Trump himself, like we all held our breath July 9th to come and go, and now August 1st. And yesterday he said, oh, August 1st isn't all for having good deals. And that's his character. These timelines that are ridiculous done because he wants to just put the pressure. He puts the high tariff numbers, jump and react, and it gets a lot of noise. But in the end, looking to probably negotiate, you know, a little lopsided, but as far better than being portrayed.
Right.
And
So, just chill.
You know,
And
take it, it'll sort itself out.
right.
Optimistic view on the situation.
Okay. So just
As a New Yorker.
yeah, as a just chill. But then maybe you see there is especially for Indonesia and Japan coming in from other factors.
Well, obviously, if Brazil is being hit hard with and other countries are shifts in trade flows, if coffee is still being a lot of ifs in the equation. I mean, a bigger concern is what is going to happen with EUDR, the deforestation. That could be more disruptive, and I hate to say the EU is being more stubborn or obstinate about EUDR in the timeline than Trump is being unreasonable about, as his nickname is Taco for he doesn't chickens out. So,
Okay. Good to know.
So,
Taco,
you
yeah.
know, this is the thing.
Okay.
So, but EUDR, to see the industry doesn't have preparedness. It does not. I look at some of the numbers in the certified stock, for example, the exchange rate, how much of the coffee in stock is in transition bags, EUDR ready. And
Okay.
here we are almost in August,
Mm-hmm.
and almost no coffee that's in certified stock.
Okay. Yeah, it's almost August.
And,
Yeah.
and there would be heavy fines on that. So, will there have to be another extension, some more so than there is? Highly likely, but there's more
True.
pushback on that. Yeah. You
Okay.
might want to comment on that more.
Okay.
Lots of powder kegs, lots of danger.
Right.
fields.
Okay, it's getting more and more interesting, but I would like to our participant, if they want to, please raise your hand and mention your name and.
Thank you, Bu. Question for Mr. Nakano. Yeah. Thank you, Nakano, for the coffee, especially Toraja coffee. But I have one question. Coffee, the coffee brand marketing strategy in Japan face the aging population. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Aging population.
Yeah. So we Japan's are also facing a aging population, but in this time many tourists is coming to, such as we in Japanese say inbound tourism. So it's I think this year's is a record high. In house consumption is also maybe some aging problem, but many Japanese coffee sector focus on not only coffee, like a tourist company, like a hotel, restaurant, to advocate the Japan coffee, like a kissaten. So, and I think this is also very attractive one. So, but we Key Coffee, maybe not roaster, also focus on the younger people. So maybe firstly, like a condensed coffee. Maybe I think it's a first contact of the producing such a product. It's now very nice. So, and maybe, but it's a very good question. So, aging is a big challenge of Japanese market. But I think it's happy because there is no tariff of coffee, no tariff coffee. That's why maybe I think it's still nice, better than USA.
So you mentioned the youth and targeting that sector. So where is the first introduction? With their parents, having coffee with their friends in a social occasion, or from vending machine? The big pushes.
Big pushes that you mean the market.
Yeah. First introductions. Yeah.
Householding. I think the householding is a very. I think the coffee is a product drinking. It's make a time of company and a very nice product. I think to missile because one cup of coffee brings a lot of conversation, lot of smile. That's why I firstly want distribute to introduce to the household, not to the machine. There is no conversation. Thank you very much.
Has to be something interactive, right? Very human, human to human, right? Yeah, connection. Okay. You want to comment on that?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, in Japan, I heard a story that Japan used to tea country until there is this one brand, cannot mention it, but so they invested. This is a story that I heard. Yeah. So then this brand is invested time and efforts to younger generation through coffee flavored candy. This is time ago. Yeah, so that when this young generation, they already get used to the flavor. So when they're reaching the age of they can drink coffee, they're very familiar already with the flavor. This is a long time ago. I heard a story about this in Japan. I think you know which brand is that. Right. Okay, interesting. Anyone else wants to ask questions? Can I ask questions to Pak Adi? Oh, Bapak mau. Okay. Padahal saya mau tanya. Please, Pak.
Mr. Nakano, recently I read about Japan Coffee Project. That there is one organization that is developing farming for the 51 stations. Trying to grow coffee across several regions of Japan. Yes, and developing several varieties. And what do you see? What do you see about the future of this project? Thank you.
Terima kasih. So you mean I know the planting coffee in like Okinawa. So I know I have a potential in this thing in Japanese market because planting is not making using coffee. Maybe there is I think chance to second business tourism and restaurant. Maybe you know so Japan is very close island. There is we cannot see a lot of 2 hectare site. That's why I think so. For the commercial, for the coffee, like competitive to the Brazilian coffee, Indonesian coffee, tough. But I want to cooperate Japanese product. But I think it's a problem. Like, but I want to follow such a project personally. The koi planting is very difficult. So, but and the lot of typhoon and a lot of rainy and most challenge cold winter. That's cold winter. Yeah, but I think Japan has a technique about the like a vinyl house, like a vinyl. How to say in Japanese? Greenhouse. Yeah. Sorry.
Japanese coffee be like this, like the sun.
So if such a genius of coffee, if there is, I also, but I want to planting in Toarco, Sulawesi first. So,
Check. Okay. We also have quite a number of participants joining us through YouTube and Zoom. I believe there is some questions. Please, can you read it?
So I will read a question from the Zoom. There is a question for Mr. Ahmad Subagio. He specifically want to ask Mr. Nakano about how the Japanese market is responding to the current rise in coffee prices. I think this is also related to the presentation given by Judith. So maybe either of you can also answer, and how Indonesia can capitalize on this market condition to enter the Japanese market.
So tough question. So and I say maybe you know in this century and during 2 decades, the market conditions change, and Judith said Vietnam coffee is growing, and I think quality is also, because that's why Sripsan also said the important thing is in Indonesian, so production have to increase. Yeah, and I think that's of the price. So I think that's I think still chance in Indonesian market. But I love the taste of Indonesian coffee. That's why I want to cooperate with Indonesian coffee also. It's okay? Please. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
So my only comment is I talked about next year, the future of coffee going in and and I think a really important conversation that needs to be had is population and the shift in the aging of the population, because coffee drinkers tend to reduce their consumption, have different dietary habits. And how is the depopulation that we're facing 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it's not that far. It is the conversation to have now, because it's going to impact if growers keep wanting to expand and yet the global population is starting to go down. You look at Italy, Japan, Germany is offset because of immigration. China gave some shocks on the numbers 3 years ago. So we need to think, is that going to change trade flows for countries and what is going to happen? So that's for a future discussion. Yeah. But that's something that industry needs to think about.
Ada lagi? Sudah. Okay. Anyone else from the floor? We have 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. If not, I would ask each panels to give us a closing statement before we end the discussion. Starting from Pak Dodi, maybe.
Thank you. I would like to add from I said about what are the Indonesian government can support. As you mentioned, as from all the presentations, coffee producing countries mostly are land countries. Brazil, Colombia, Honduras, even Vietnam, Indonesia, archipelagic countries, lots of islands. So also the internal transportations. It's not only land transportation, so sea transportation. That's another challenge because we know one of our Indonesian import had to receive the import of the coffee a month due to the domestic transportation, the transportation itself. So that's another challenge that the government should address in terms of that. Hopefully our sea transportation is going to improve. That's one thing. Also, regarding about the Japanese market, we have to know also the customs of the people, the culture of the people. The Japanese, they love to, it's sort of like actually a close-knit society in Japanese. They have really close friends. They to cafe talk, and one afternoon I was with my colleagues and we were the only men in the cafe, ladies, or they call it in Japanese mamatomo, because they usually after carrying their children to school, before picking up the children, they go to coffee, they talk, they chat, they exchange those things. So this is one of the things you have to consider and think about promoting initiative into the Japanese market. So many different segments in Japanese market. I believe also it's in Japan they have also their own. If I to one of the breakfast place, what they gave me is one ice water and one coffee, at least, yeah. So coffee is also Japanese lives here. I think that's. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I hope my presentation many times. I think Indonesian coffee have a wonderful potential and quality and extrinsic attribute also. So we hope keep want to cooperate about with Indian coffee sector and still want to promote Indonesian coffee to the Japanese market. Thank you very much.
Pak Surip, silakan Pak.
Thank you, Ibu. My expectation is on the trading issues, because I'm really yeah, it is, how do you call it? It's not sad, but with the increasing of coffee export to Japan from Indonesia, very significant. So expect from the government of Indonesia, mainly from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also from Trade Ministry, how to build the connection and retalk about the coffee Japanese in Japan and also Indonesia. So can be built some like from small thing, how to connect, how thinking. Yeah, my expression, I like to represent farmers, almost in farmers, yeah, living from coffee. So we push the productivity, quality, but no market is pointed. So I really expect from the small government and also coffee sectors to talk together, starting to talk about the next building trustee and also building new trading system maybe between Indonesia and Japan to start going up the coffee trading from Indonesia. This is our expression from the grassroots.
Okay.
So, yeah, because in 1980s, I have something like nice information. The Japanese market is very like with the Java Robusta, WIB, yeah, Robusta. This is very nice information, yeah. But the WIB Robusta produced in Java, yeah, but only available in Japan. Yeah, why? Because most of WIB quality according to Japan, maybe, not anymore. Yeah, this is our task to awakening the production of WIB.
To come with confidence.
Yeah. We have at least in short time the market can absorb higher today import. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give an amen to that. Judith?
So I have a very stamped coffee report. So I've been to a lot of coffee producing countries. And what I have found is my experience, and I'm not suggesting anything, the countries where there was a partnership between the government and the growers, that's where there's higher yields and greater success. And so not only the marketing side, but working with producers in renovating farms and support systems really makes a big difference one country to the next. So much so that I will point out that Arabia is now starting to grow coffee.
Right.
Yeah. The government is making a big push because they know consumption is strong. And in the southern mountainous areas, they're not growing it in the sand. In mountainous areas on the border of Yemen, they're growing coffee. And it's become the mission of the government to help with that investment. So sometimes competitions from unusual.
The most unlikely.
Yeah, most unlikely. and where it is. So it's just my 2 cents.
Okay, so the success rate, you can see that from most countries, government and the growers has collaborated.
Yeah, it has to be end to end is where
Right.
it's not just a market push.
Right.
But you look at, say, Colombia and the systems for the grower, the credit and the loan, the education, has been invaluable in terms of turning their production in times of adversity.
Okay, so one last question from you. We talk about government, growers, exporters, importers, and my question, since this business forum was organized by me, how do you see our sectors, including a function like coffee, can play a big part?
Huge.
It can be a huge, a giant, humongous part. And how do you see that, especially after your tour in Indonesia?
I think it's critical. I mean, I think that, especially given the disparity in the regions, that having long arm of public and enterprise to support the growers value chain is essential.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Akan mendengarkan, we will, okay, during this kind of meeting, moderator, since I speak many languages, my brains kind of like got up between one language to another language. We will hear some resume from Clifford, yeah, in Japanese, before we end the discussion.
皆さん、本日の、王道について、Q&A についてありがとうございます。今日の、Q&A の、答えが日本語についています。はい、最初にジュリッツさんが気候変動が、ある状況がどうやればインドネシアにやっているのかをやり方について話しています。あと、トリプさんが、その工夫が必要であることについて話しています。そしたら、ドリさんがどうは、政府の対策、インドネシア政府の対策について、どういう市場にインドネシアコーヒーだけでなく、インドネシアの品物に、日本市場に入るのは、どうすればいいのかについて話しています。その後、中野さんが、そのコーヒーのプランテーションとか、どうすればそのコーヒーの持続、品質、一貫性について話しています。その後、日本の高齢化、そういう問題がどうすれば、解決するのは話しています。そしたら、コーヒーの、必要性、コーヒーが日本にどうすれば入るのかも話しています。最後に、その意見について、政府の対策、インドネシアのコーヒーのポテンシャルと日本の市場に話していて、コネクションとか、コーヒーにあるの、コーヒーのと、政府についてどう強いコネクションが必要かについても話します。以上にのって、Q&A のことなんです。ありがとうございます。
Thank you for Ibu Pang leading us to the panel discussion. And thank you so much for our speakers for the insightful discussion that we had today. Right now, as a small appreciation, Badi Haryono will hand some gifts and also souvenirs for our speakers. So, Bapak Adi Haryono, please come forward. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Right now, we can also take a picture. Okay. Yeah. Kenapa? Siapa dulu? Yes. Miss Judith first. now we can take a picture. Also, please come forward, Bu Pangesti. Also, let's get a picture. Bapak Mulyono, also please join in the frame. Thank you so much for our speakers and also the part that is already been here. Your information that we also provide lunch for one of us in here. Please go to this cafe and grab. Thank you so much. Have a nice.
Recording stopped.